I wanted to basically say a few remarks. We've met most of the commentary and the panelists over the last few days. We've been talking so much about U.S. domestic politics, but there's a lot, as we all know, going on around the world. And in many ways, there are some of the same dynamics that we have seen in our own country, an anti-establishment mood and a discontent with traditional political parties and more defense of popular sovereignty. And we're lucky to have a member of the Italian Parliament, Giorgia, to talk a little bit about what's going on in Europe and the rise of populist parties that are trying to reclaim their countries, their voters' sovereignty.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me. This is a great honor for me to stand on this stage today as an Italian, as an European, and discuss with the American Conservative Union issues that are crucial for the future of us all. First of all, in this debate on democracy in Europe and in Venezuela, I would like to share with you that the party I lead, Fratelli d'Italia, is on the front lines in supporting the cause of liberty for the Venezuelan people against the communist dictator Maduro. We have brought the protest of democracy-loving Venezuelans, including a sizable community of Italian origin, into the Italian parliament, and we have tried to push the Italian government to adopt a clear position in support of Guaidó and the constitutional rule of law. Unfortunately, the Italian government remains hostage to some of its ideologically left-wing members, and it has adopted a neutral position on the Venezuelan crisis. This is a grave and unacceptable attitude that we have forcefully denounced, because we cannot remain neutral between freedom and tyranny. Never. And the heirs of Greek and Roman culture should know this better than anyone. My mind goes to Julius Caesar, the tragedy so masterfully told by Shakespeare of the Romans who decided to murder the greatest among them, Caesar, for he had planned to proclaim himself emperor and tyrant, and thus betray the values of freedom and the Republic. All of us, Italians, European, Westerns, we are the descendants of that greatness. We should never forget it. And that happens in Venezuela, of course, and in Europe as well, where we are fighting another battle for freedom, one that is less dramatic yet equally vital for our peoples, and it is the battle against European Union's anti-democratic drift. Until a few years ago, countries were willing to do whatever it took to join the European club. Why are so many now considering leaving, something the United Kingdom has already done? And why are there ever more movements, such as the one I lead, that call for a restoration of national sovereignty and the reduced role for the European Union? We discussed this a few days ago in Rome during the summit of the Alliance of Conservatives and Reformers in Europe, whose delegation should be here. I greet and thank them. And the answer we gave is a simple one. The crisis of the European Union is a crisis of democracy and popular sovereignty. The European democratic system is based on national states. It is at this level that the people elect their representatives. But decision-making powers in the economic, monetary, and legislative spheres are increasingly less in the hands of nation-states and increasingly more in those of European bureaucrats, even though they have no democratic legitimacy. Democracy in Europe has become a sham. Citizens vote for institutions that have no decision-making powers, while they have no say in the functioning of the institutions that truly hold the levers of power in the old continent. The European Parliament is elected, of course, but unfortunately it is the one with less powers in all European institutions. This supranatural, undemocratic entity imposed upon European nations the choices of nihilistic globalist elites driven by international finance, untrammeled immigration to destroy European identities and import a cheap labor force, austerity policies that have weakened the real economy and strengthened financial speculators, globalism without rules that damages local productions and labor and favors multinational corporations, and the systematic destruction of the founding values of our civilization. This is what the European Union has become. And this is the European Union against which the people are rebelling, not against the European people's desire for a union. And the final clash will come in the upcoming European elections in May. Europe against Europe. Our Europe, with its Greek, Roman, and Christian roots, versus the Europe of Macron and Merkel, of those who want to cede even more national sovereignty to European technocrats, of those who misquote American history to make grand proclamation about a United States of Europe. They don't know what they're talking about. What makes America great is that you created a great national framework with great patriotism while making the most of your diversity. Those who instead want to impose the United States of Europe on us, they want to destroy our identity and our civilization to turn us into undefined citizens of the world and model consumers. To those who want a United States of Europe, we say we want a united Europe of states. A great confederation of free and sovereign nation-states who can work together on a range of major issues: immigration, security, single market, defense, foreign policy, but enjoy self-determination in all matters that are best decided upon the national or local level. This is the model that so many patriotic and conservative movements are working on, tearing down this European Union to save the union of European nations and return to the peoples of Europe the sovereignty that has been usurped by technocrats and bureaucrats in the service of the globalist worldview. This is the same battle that the American Conservative Union has been fighting for years in the United States, and that is why I'm very proud of being here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Giorgia. And we really, really wish all the best for our ideological cousins in Europe as they continue their struggle. And what better way